What's going on, everybody? It is November 2nd, 2025. How are you feeling? Physically, mentally, emotionally? What are you doing today? How are you spending your day? Are you in the house? Are you getting out, being active? Are you being creative? Are you exercising your brain in any kind of way, any kind of fashion that will benefit you in the long run? Remember when you were little, younger? I guess this is more of a thing for those of us who are in our, who have reached that half a century mark. But I think it relates to every generation that reaches a certain stage in their life. You start to reflect on growing up, your upbringing and things of that nature. And you start to take an honest look at where you were, where you've been, and where you are now. I can say for myself, life has been a journey. Good, bad, and indifferent. But I've learned a lot along the way. A lot that I can be grateful for. When you step out into nature and just enjoy the beauty of life, you get a greater appreciation for everything around you. Being able to go outside and take a breath of fresh air. But the bigger question is, what are you going to do moving forward? But what I wanted to discuss with you is more of a humor thing. Remember when you were little and you used to say, I can't wait till I'm grown or an adult so I can do whatever I want to do? And nobody could tell me what to do. You were a defiant child, didn't want to listen to your parents, didn't want to listen to your teachers, older relatives, aunts, uncles, cousins, whatever the case may be. Remember those days? The good old days? And then you hit adulthood. And life really started to matter. Like, life really started to matter. And you were like, damn, I wish I could be a kid again. We all hit those times. We all hit those moments. And the ironic thing, you can't look at it with regret. But the one thing I want to say is, you know, we wanted to rush adulthood and being responsible and all of those other milestones in life that we really don't want to deal with all the time. You know, how many of us, don't get me wrong. Becoming an adult and experiencing life is a wonderful thing. Trust me, it's great. You know, you get to understand what your parents went through, what other people went through. You get to experience how times changed for you and just everyone around you. Your growth, your ups, your downs, the I told you so's that you get, all that good stuff. But then you also have to look at I don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this because it's a lot of responsibility. And that's where resiliency comes into play. As we experience these bumps and bruises in life, we have to look at how resilient we are, and we cannot forget how resilient we are We cannot forget the challenges that we've gone through. We cannot forget what we've learned. We can't forget how we were able to overcome a lot of things. I use the example when I talk to people, I use the example of, remember when you were little and you fell and you bumped your knee or bumped your head or scraped yourself, fell off a bike or what, anything like that, any of those incidents that ever happened to you. And you thought it was the end of the damn world. You thought the whole world was over. You cried and screamed to the top of your lungs. Yeah, you just thought life was over. And then maybe that same day, maybe a day or two later, life was back to normal. You were back to doing whatever it is you were doing. That was resiliency. That was something that you were not taught. That was a learned experience. That is something that came with everyday life. You did not need to be taught that. Depending on your culture, your economic background, and all of that, you were greeted with a certain type of teaching to get over that. I know for me, a lot of times it was stop that crying and things along those lines. Boys ain't supposed to cry. Shut your mouth. It's not the end of the world. Things that nature that were instilled in me and a lot of people who grew up like me. That was instilled into us as kids. But as you grow up and you start experiencing different things, you forget those moments and you only remember the response to those moments from your elders, your parents, and your friends, even your peer groups. That's what you remember. You remember the reaction to your pain. And that can be traumatizing for a lot of people. And unfortunately, some people do not know how to effectively cope with that. It takes people on different paths in life. And sometimes it can be detrimental to our upbringing. But I'm here to tell you, resiliency starts from your first traumatic experience. That's where it starts. That's where resiliency starts. Your first traumatic experience. You may not know it. You may not know it. But at this age in life, I'm 52, at this age in life, I need you to remember that. And I need you to find a way to work through that at this age if you are struggling with situations that test your resiliency. Far too many adults forget that. And they struggle, and they internalize, they implode, which causes them to go through several types of mental, emotional things that hold them back from moving at their full potential. Another thing that we at this age can do is impress upon our children those same thoughts, those same methods of resiliency. They don't know any better. And the way that they're growing up is far different from how we grew up, just like the way we grew up is far different from how our parents grew up and their parents, so on and so forth. As times changed, the reactions to experiences also have changed. We all have similar experience in life, but the society around those experiences has drastically changed to the point where we can sit back as this generation looking at the generation behind us and saying, what the hell is wrong with them? Why can't they understand heartache, for example? Why can't they understand struggle? Meaning, just average things in life. Why are they so emotional? Why don't they comprehend basic things? Are we failing them as parents or as the generation that we're in? Or are they just that stubborn to where they just don't want to listen, they don't care? What is that? I don't know what it is, but that is something that we need to be consciously thinking about and passing on to the generations behind us, because they don't know no better. This is social media age. They get their feelings, emotions, and everything like that from social media. That's where they are in life. And unfortunately, a lot of people in my generation and even older get trapped in that same loop of craziness. They say counseling works. I agree. One thing I learned about counseling is you have to graduate out of it. I think that everyone should attempt counseling. But what I would offer to that is, when you decide to take counseling, take something out of it. Don't use it as a forever crutch. What I mean by that is, you may have suppressed some things in life, or you may have forgotten things in life because of trauma that are holding you back from growing. It may be keeping you from operating at your full potential. So what you do is, you take those tools that you get from counseling and you develop your own coping plan from those. Or else you're going to end up with a counselor being your buddy. Then at that point, why are you paying for counseling if you're going to talk to your buddy? You have a peer group that you don't have to pay for that. Right? It's just an opinion. My opinion. You can't forget what you've learned in life when it comes to your health, your mental health, your emotional health, even your physical health. You cannot forget what you've learned. You have to take what you've learned and build upon it. So when you go to counseling, you learn something that you suppressed or forgot. When you go through any type of trauma or situation, don't forget about it. Don't put it in a box and throw it somewhere and just be done with it. Take that and learn from it. Learn how it affected you. Well, first, understand how you got into this situation, or that situation was put upon you. Learn how it affected you. Learn what you did to deal with that situation, whether you worked yourself through it, whether you dealt with it constructively, healthy, or it took you to a place of, where you needed assistance. Keep that in mind. And then look at what you did to actually overcome that situation. And repeat those things all the time. You don't have to repeat them in depth. You don't have to deal with it in depth. Once you deal with a situation, especially if it's traumatizing, that's usually the most that you are going to struggle with it. Most times. Now, I'm not here to say that every person in every situation is that easy, because no situation is easy, depending on who you are and what that situation is. So I'm not here to say, hey, get over it. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, you can find that place where you hit that level of, you know what, this is it. This is my turning point. This is where I gotta lace up my boots and get it together. Especially if you have people around you that are counting on you. Or you have people around you that really care about you. You are not in this world alone. It is not only about you. You have people around you. And that's another thing. You cannot forget that people care about you. That's one thing that that bothers me when it comes to a lot of people dealing with things. They forget that there are people around them that care about them. But that's my thought for the day. So Toucha the poet. I will get at you on the next one. Peace.